In the middle of the Indian Ocean, there's a small island that has remained untouched by modern civilization for thousands of years. It is about the size of Manhattan. It is covered in dense forest, and it is surrounded by clear, turquoise water. But you're not allowed to go there. Ships cannot approach it. Airplanes are advised to fly around it, and it is illegal for any person from the outside world to set foot on its shore. This is not because of a military base. It is not because of a secret facility, and it is not because of a natural disaster. It is because of the people who live there. Welcome to North Sentinel Island, one of the most isolated and protected places on Earth. North Sentinel Island is part of the Andaman Islands, which belong to India. It sits in the Bay of Bengal, thousands of kilometers from the Indian mainland. The island itself is small, remote, and surrounded by coral reefs that make it difficult to approach even in calm weather. But what makes North Sentinel truly unique is not its geography. It is its people. The Sentinelese are one of the last uncontacted tribes on the planet. They have lived on this island for an estimated 60,000 years. And in all that time, they have had almost no contact with the outside world. They have their own language, their own tools, their own way of life. And they have made one thing very clear. They do not want visitors. Throughout history, various attempts have been made to contact the Sentinelese. Some were peaceful, some were not. In the 1800s, a British naval officer named Maurice Vidal Portman attempted to establish contact with the tribe. His expedition kidnapped 6 Sentinelese people, including 2 elderly adults and 4 children, and brought them to the nearby city of Port Blair. The adults quickly became ill and died, likely from diseases they had no immunity to. The children were eventually returned to the island with gifts. This event is now considered one of the most tragic and harmful contact attempts in modern history. It set a devastating precedent. The Sentinelese had learned that the outside world was dangerous. For over a century afterward, the Sentinelese continued to reject any attempts at contact. They shot arrows at approaching boats. They stood on the beach with weapons. They made it very clear that outsiders were not welcome. In the 1960s and 1970s, the Indian government began sending peaceful expeditions with gifts. Coconuts, bananas, iron tools, and other items were left on the beach. Sometimes the Sentinelese accepted the gifts. Sometimes they destroyed them. Sometimes they attacked the boats. Researchers were never able to establish stable communication. And gradually, India came to a difficult realization. Forcing contact was not helping the Sentinelese. It was harming them. In 1996, the Indian government officially ended all contact expeditions. And in 2018, they made it completely illegal for any outsider to travel within 3 nautical miles of the island. The reason was not to protect the outside world from the Sentinelese. The reason was to protect the Sentinelese from the outside world. There is one specific danger that most people do not realize. The Sentinelese have lived in isolation for thousands of years. Their immune systems have never been exposed to modern diseases. Something as simple as the common cold, the flu, or measles could wipe out their entire population within weeks. This is not speculation. History has shown this many times. When Europeans first arrived in the Americas, entire indigenous populations were destroyed by diseases they had no defense against. Some communities lost 90% of their people, not from war, but from viruses. The Sentinelese, with a population estimated between 50 and 200 people, could disappear completely from a single infected visitor. The tribe has also demonstrated remarkable survival abilities. In 2004, one of the largest tsunamis in recorded history struck the Indian Ocean. It devastated coastlines across multiple countries. Hundreds of thousands of people died. The Andaman Islands were directly in its path. When helicopters flew over North Sentinel Island days later to check for survivors, they expected the worst. But when they arrived, they found the Sentinelese standing on the beach, alive, waving arrows at the helicopters. Somehow they had known. Experts believe that the Sentinelese, like some other indigenous peoples in the region, may have understood natural warning signs. Changes in animal behavior, vibrations in the ground, ocean movements. signs modern civilization has long forgotten how to read. They moved to higher ground before the wave arrived. And they survived. Despite the laws and the warnings, some outsiders have still attempted to reach the island. In 2006, two fishermen who accidentally drifted too close to the island were killed by the Sentinelese. In 2018, an American man named John Allen Chow illegally traveled to North Sentinel Island. His stated goal was to make contact with the tribe. He wrote in his journal that he wanted to bring them his religion. His body was never recovered. The Indian government did not press charges against the tribe. Their reasoning was simple. The Sentinelese had every right to defend their land from an intruder they had no way of understanding. The Sentinelese are not lost. They are not waiting to be discovered. They are not asking for help. They are a fully functioning community that has chosen isolation. And that choice must be respected. Very little is known about the Sentinelese themselves. Almost everything we understand about them comes from distant observation. Photographs taken from boats or helicopters. Occasional glimpses through binoculars. Researchers believe they live in small groups. They build simple shelters. They fish in the shallow waters around the island. They hunt small animals in the forest. They make bows, arrows, and basic tools. Their language is completely unknown. It appears to be unrelated to any other language on Earth. Their culture, beliefs, and traditions remain a mystery, and they may stay that way forever. In many ways, North Sentinel Island is a reminder of how large and diverse the world still is. We live in an era of satellites, smartphones, and instant global communication. We can video call someone on the other side of the planet in seconds. We can order a package from another continent and receive it in days. But somewhere in the Indian Ocean, there is a small island where people are still living almost exactly the way their ancestors lived thousands of years ago. Without electricity, without written language, without modern medicine, without knowledge of anything outside their own shores. And they're doing just fine. Some people find this story sad. They believe the Sentinelese are missing out on the benefits of modern life. But others see it differently. They see a community that has protected its identity, that has resisted colonization, disease, and cultural destruction, that has chosen its own way of life and defended it for thousands of years. There is something powerful about that. There is also something humbling, because in a world that constantly pushes us to connect, to share, to expose everything about ourselves online, the Sentinelese represent the opposite. They are private. They are protected. They are free from the noise of the modern world. North Sentinel Island continues to exist as one of the last truly untouched places on Earth. It is protected by Indian law, by geographic isolation, and by the determination of the people who live there. And perhaps that is exactly how it should stay. Not as a mystery to be solved, not as a discovery waiting to happen, but as a reminder that some places and some people are meant to be left alone. If you enjoyed this story, subscribe to Shadow Files for more real stories about the strange, the unknown, and the parts of our world we are still discovering. Because sometimes the most fascinating places on Earth are the ones we will never visit.